You started a business because you believed in something. Maybe it was a product you were passionate about. Maybe it was a dream of freedom. Or maybe you just knew deep down that you were built for more than a 9 to 5. And somewhere along the way, things started to feel harder than you expected. Not dramatically harder, quietly harder, like a slow leak in a tire you don't notice until you're already on the side of the road. That feeling you have right now, that mix of confusion and exhaustion and maybe a little bit of fear, that's not a sign that you're failing. That's a sign that nobody ever told you the truth about what actually kills new businesses. And today, that changes. Because what I'm about to share with you has nothing to do with working harder. You're already working hard. It has everything to do with the invisible mistakes that are bleeding your business dry while you're still showing up every single day giving everything you have. These are the quiet killers, the ones that don't announce themselves, the ones that feel completely normal until suddenly everything stops working. And here's the thing. Most people who figure this out do it after losing months, sometimes years, and tens of thousands of dollars. But the people who get ahead fast, the ones you see building momentum that looks almost unfair, they learn these lessons before the damage became permanent. If you want to shortcut that entire painful process, we have related programs linked in the description below this video. I'd encourage you to look into them sooner rather than later, because most people wait until they're already drowning to ask for a life raft. But right now, let's talk about what's actually happening inside your business. The first quiet killer is building without listening. You spent so much time creating your offer, your product, your service. You poured your heart into it. You thought about it while you were in the shower. You dreamed about it. And then you launched it, and the silence was deafening. That silence isn't rejection. That silence is data you didn't collect before you built. The businesses that scale fast are not built on passion alone. They are built on obsessive attention to what real people with real money actually want to solve right now. Not what you assume they want, not what you think they should want. What they are already lying awake at night worrying about. Here's how different things look on the other side. When you build around actual demand, your offers start selling before they're even fully finished. People reach out to you. They refer others. Revenue stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a natural result of doing the right thing. That shift, from pushing to pulling, changes everything. It changes your energy, your confidence, and your bank account. The second quiet killer is pricing from fear. This one is deeply personal and almost nobody talks about it. When you're new and uncertain, you price low to avoid rejection. You tell yourself it's a strategy. You call it competitive. But deep down, you're scared that if you charge what you're actually worth, people will say no, and you'll have your worst fear confirmed. That fear is costing you everything. When you undercharge, you attract clients who don't value your work. You burn yourself out trying to serve too many people for too little money. You resent your own business. And here's the part that stings. Low prices don't build trust. High prices with clear value do. The moment you stop pricing from fear and start pricing from value, something almost miraculous happens. Your clients show up differently. They implement what you teach. They get better results. They refer people at those higher prices. And you have more time and energy to serve them well because you're not running on empty trying to survive. The numbers speak for themselves. Doubling your price and working with half the clients can produce the same revenue with twice the energy and 10 times the fulfillment. The third quiet killer is confusing being busy with making progress. This one will resonate with you if you've ever ended a 14-hour workday feeling completely exhausted but somehow no closer to your goals. You were responding to messages. You were tweaking your website for the 4th time this month. You were watching tutorials, planning, reorganizing your files, doing everything except the 1 or 2 things that actually generate revenue. This is not laziness. This is what happens when nobody has shown you the difference between productive activity and the illusion of productivity. The entrepreneurs who build real momentum are almost boring to watch. They do the same revenue-generating activities with relentless consistency. They ignore everything else until those things are done. And over months, the compounding effect of those decisions creates results that look like overnight success from the outside, but are really just disciplined focus applied long enough to matter. The fourth quiet killer is building alone. And I want you to sit with this one for a second. Think about how isolating this journey has felt. Think about the moments you made a decision with nobody to run it by. Think about the times you wasted weeks going down the wrong path simply because you didn't have someone who had already made those same mistakes to steer you back faster. Building a business alone is not a badge of honor. It's a tax you pay in time, money, and mental health that nobody has to pay if they simply choose not to. The businesses that grow the fastest almost universally have one thing in common. The person at the top invested in getting around others who are further ahead. They paid for perspective. They bought back time by skipping the trial and error phase, and statistically the data is overwhelming. Business owners who invest in mentorship and structured guidance reach profitability faster, maintain it longer, and report higher satisfaction with what they've built. This is the difference between someone who spends 3 years figuring out what works through painful mistakes and someone who gets the same result in 6 months because they had a roadmap built from thousands of hours of someone else's experience. That gap isn't talent, it's access to the right information at the right time. The fifth quiet killer is having no system for anything. Every day you start fresh, figuring out what to do, how to do it, doing it slightly differently each time. This creates invisible chaos. It creates inconsistency in your results, your client experience, your revenue, and your mindset. When nothing is systematized, everything depends on how you feel that day. And nobody who builds a real business can afford to let revenue depend on feelings. The most powerful shift a new business owner can make is creating simple, repeatable systems for the core things that drive revenue. Not complicated systems, simple ones. The kind that mean you never have to reinvent the wheel every Monday morning. When those systems exist, something extraordinary happens. Your results become predictable, and predictable results make everything else in your life feel calmer, clearer, and more controlled. Here's what all of this adds up to. The difference between a business that quietly struggles and one that builds real momentum isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It isn't having a perfect idea or a massive following or some special unfair advantage. It is having clarity on what to do, the courage to charge what you're worth, the discipline to stay focused on what matters, the wisdom to not build alone, and the systems that make everything repeatable. The person who doesn't act on what they just learned will continue doing what they've been doing and getting what they've been getting. The person who takes this information and pairs it with the right support, the right structure, and the right guidance moves into a completely different category faster than they think possible. And if there's a voice inside of you right now saying, "This is exactly what I needed to hear," I want you to trust that voice. That voice has been right about you this whole time. The programs linked in the description below this video exist for exactly the person you are right now. Someone who is serious, who has already proven they're willing to work, and who simply needs the framework and support to make that work actually pay off. Most people scroll past opportunities like this and return 6 months later wishing they hadn't waited. You don't have to be most people. The information is there. The decision is yours. And it's worth making now, not later.